But yeah, we come over here. Oh, I don't know, fellas. Okay, but you know, nothing to write home about. The one in the grass is not as good as the peat. Now the peat and the coir seem to be running pretty much closely together, and that's quite a nice, good leaf coming out there. We worked out the if the lignin content of coir is 30%, it's between the 20 and 30% of peat. You can see that they're running roughly the same. So if we could get some sedge peat, or make ourselves the equivalent of sedge peat, maybe using some, you know, egg protein, you know, a substitute for ligno protein sort of thing, and we can maybe get the cation and anion exchange capacity, you know, in other words the salt index, up to double that. We might get double the growth sort of thing, because they say that, you know, the cation and anion exchange capacity or salt index is proportional to the lignin content of sphagnum peat and other peat related products sort of thing. Of course, the irony, one of the other ironies is that sphagnum, sphagnum moss, the progenitor of sphagnum peat, apparently contains no lignin of itself. So where does the so-called lignin come in? There was the case, but the horn itself was missing. Yeah, where does it come from, sort of thing? But as you can see, this is sort of not bad. But then again, it's a topping of coir with no sand in it. Whether the sand has like a negative effect, we haven't worked that out. So yeah, still like this one though over here. It's not bad, really. And these are starting to have that sort of look of the wild. So whether they just grow really nicely but very small in the wild, and people haven't really mentioned that how small they are in the wild. Everyone looks at these photographs, and of course they zoom in on them and they look fantastic. They look bigger than they actually are. I don't know. But if you notice, some of these leaves here almost look like some of the Donald Snell 1 photograph. They haven't got the pale out look, but the shape of the trap and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. So, yeah, going in, because I didn't really get these too well last night. And oh, look at that new leaf coming up there. Have you noticed the way the new leaves come out? You know, I've never really had this in the past, in my, you know, 45 or more years of experience. I never really had that before. Whether it's a particular strain of Dioneer with larger traps and it has to struggle to get the traps out and go sideways, I don't know. But these are, as I said before, I think I don't like the erect look. I like the flat on the ground, as I say. So so hopefully with this new one we're going to get this plus that. This one over here, which is this one's starting to make a move. But if you can see the traps in there, sort of thing. I don't know if you see that. Quite totally unexpected there. And this one's starting to move. But this was going really, really well until the and crept out when the cyanophyta on the surface sort of crept out. Sort of, you see this patchy business. Whether the new one won't do that, but the cyan will get a really. Because I've noticed in the past, if you get a nice, luxuriant, really thick, oozy, confluent lawn of cyanophyta, you can actually drop leaves of cape and things like that, and they'll strike in the ooze. So you might want to think about that. Why do they strike in the ooze and not really so easily? And I mean, it takes you back to all this waterculture. You know, they drop these things in the waterculture. I'm thinking, well, if that was true, you've got to equate the water to the ooze. So they've actually made what is. I mean, I don't think it's pure water, fellas. I mean, unless it's something like they're taking out all the copper, you know, and that's why it works. Once you take out all the copper, they just strike like crazy. I don't know, but they should be telling you this. I mean, if that's the secret of horticulture, they should be telling you this. That's what I mean. I don't think the horticulture industry or people in general play with a straight back, and they won't do until we end up growing plants with 4-inch traps, and then that's when the revolution will be in, and there'll be no reason, no excuse to act like a pork chop as they've done in the past sort of thing. So yeah, this one in here, putting up a nice. As the great Ziggurat says, this is madness, but I think there is some method in the madness, and we'll slowly. You probably notice there is greening on the surface there of the sand. So yeah, there's greening here too. So maybe we'll get some more movement now. We've taken it out of the water bath. We may actually have saved 3 of them, I can always plant some new ones in there, of course. And yeah, this one here is Eric Greenioing up. And you notice it's got a really sagey green to it. Almost getting into a glaucous look. So if we can get this stuff into a plant and actually get it to blue, we may end up with a blue flytrap. You know, it might be as simple as that if we can do it. But we'll just take a... Now, would you call these CP tannins? Well, they certainly look like the CP tannins in the water there as we head over there. So, yes, makes you wonder whether we're actually going to make a definitive discovery of what CP tannins really are, how to make them, and how to improve on them, of course. And yeah, I really do like flat on the ground fly traps. I do not like green eggs and ham, as he said. I do not like yeah, I do not like upright fly traps. I like flat on the ground fly traps. They're mainly because I think probably because I saw my first ones at Phil Manson. He had some little pots, those little punnet things, and he was trying out some strange things. He had clay-looking soil a bit like this. Makes you wonder if he was 50 years ahead of the curve sort of thing. Well, probably because he was in the botanical gardens industry, I suppose, and he probably, you know, they do have secrets that they keep up their sleeve, and you know. Sort of thing. But yeah, that really is a nice leaf coming out there. They all are starting to be. I really do like that one though. If I could really get a close in one of that, I don't know how close I can get down, but hopefully the camera's doing its magic. And I've lost my lens cap too. So well, that's about it for today, I think. And I've forgotten that one. That one's drying out, I think. Yeah, I think that's a goner. Drying out. That one's gone too. I forgot about that one. There's just only so much you can do, fellas. And this one, yeah, it's growing back, but you know, can you imagine someone 50 years ago, they would have been happy with something like that? That's crap, but someone 50 years ago would have been absolutely over the moon and ecstatic about something like that. But yeah, not me. I mean, I'm not even happy about this. You know, 45 years ago or so, when I was a lot younger, I would have been really happy with it. I couldn't even get this sort of stuff back then. I mean, I had great, you know, natural plants growing not 2 to 3 basketball courts away from the back fence of my house sort of thing. Probably within 2 basketball courts, if not 1. And I couldn't grow stuff in the, you know, the so-called peat and sand stuff like then. So I don't know. So, I don't know, we're going to get even more better growth by the 3rd week of February. We're going to discover something by the, you know, like suddenly a mushroom comes up on the side of something, and we suddenly, that's it. We can recognise that type of mushroom. Mushrooms are very hard to, mycorrhizae in general are very hard to identify until you do get a mushroom that comes up, and then you're not quite sure. You've got to track it back to the mycelium. So, yeah, anyway, that's about it. This one's probably losing the light, probably needs more light. So, yeah, more light. Could do better, as they say on the report card. And, oh, geez, look at that classic sign of, wow, either manganese or is it zinc deficiency? I don't know. We'll have to look that one on the old fungus Wagnalls. Maybe this is going to make a move, I don't know, but could have done a lot, but I don't know, is this just a small clone, a thin clone, or something's going wrong? I mean, all these are going, I think this idea of perlite, you know, it's good initially, but I think that it's probably got fluoride or something like that, then it's sort of, yeah. Though this weed is taking off, I really do like that weed. So, could do better. Another weed that's sort of starting to look nice. So whether this one, after it's finished flowering, is going to make a massive resurge and come back. But, yeah. So what about this fly trap in here? Oh, making a few new leaves in there, but, yeah. I think you're right, fellas. Cut the flower stalks off, whack them in. But that's about it for today's little chat. I'll flush it and we'll get something in it and start the clock counting and see if we get I'll probably